Greetings. I just thought I'd talk to you. I'd do a little mini series on the unity of Jesus Christ, the unity of the church, how we as Christians become unified with Jesus, and the right way of thinking about it. There are so many people that lay down so many rules and regulations about all that sort of stuff, but I just want you to understand that we need to think about the unity with Jesus Christ a little bit different than we have been, because I think some churches and denominations are getting a little off track. But I want a prerequisite. It will be coming out of Romans 6. If you want to turn in your Bibles, Romans 6 will be coming out of the first 13 verses by the time this mini-series is done. And I want to talk about the concept of when you look up unity in a dictionary, and I looked it up on, of course, several different areas and got several different ideas. But let's look at it as incorporation. When we incorporate, it's an association with two or more people to develop and come together with a target in mind, or a but, as they say in French, of what we want to do. We want to work together to gain something. And a lot of times when we're talking about incorporation, we're talking about to make money or a product that we can sell in exchange for money. But when we do something like that, it could be for a temporary time or for the rest of our lives, whatever it is. But each person is bringing into the corporation a specialty or something that they're very good at. One person may be coming in because he's got money. The other one may be connecting with another one because of the specialty in the field of choice, what they're going to be doing in creating. I can remember a lot of times when I would start something or get involved or be hired for a job to do something, and many times we had to sign a piece of paper stating and reading beforehand of exactly what we're supposed to be bringing into the situation and what our job description is. SOP is what some people refer to it as, standard operating procedures. And I've written one for our church. I've written one for each job in the church, so that everybody coming in has an idea of what they should be doing and what is expected of them. But another word that when we look up unity is the word of being embedded. In other words, it's a concept of coming together, but not just being together, but totally infiltrating and becoming as one. When we look at being embedded, we have heard that term very much by the news, CNN, and the other news networks. When they put a reporter in the battlefield with a squad or a platoon or a company, they are embedded with them. They join with them. They go with them no matter where they go. They don't get involved in the fighting because they're not there for that. They're there simply to report the situation. Another word that comes to mind when we're thinking of the idea of unity is graphing. Now, I remember in Florida many times when they would decide to create a new form of orange or tangerine, tangelo, or whatever, they take a branch from one tree and cut into the main tree a little T and put this branch so it is coming out in this form, and eventually it becomes part of that tree, taking the sap into it, causing the difference in the fruit that is going to be produced on that branch, which will in turn create the seeds for a new type. And I remember seeing that done in the early 50s in Florida. But when we're in graft, we become part of it, such a point that we take the energy from the source and take it and put it into us. And that's basically what we do when we become Christians, is we are taking the energy, we're taking the source of Jesus Christ and putting it into us, to the point we don't see a difference. And there's another word that comes to mind is when we talk about unity is participation. Now, we can't have unequal participation to have a career or a good transformation in whatever we're doing to participate in, to create an end result of what we're after. Everybody has to do their part. Everybody has to agree when they come together. Hey, yes, this is what I really feel. I want to become a part of it. But I will do my fair share. And when each individual does their fair share, the whole becomes very clear and they obtain the goal that they're reaching out for. And of course, as a church, we're reaching out to gain others for Jesus Christ, to teach the people that we have to become better Christians, to become better people, to function in the community where they're at. And the church gives back to the community as it's taking from the community also. And as our church, Eagle's Nest International, starts to grow as we are now, we're starting to have more and more visitors now. And some of them are staying with us, and so we're learning the new people. We're learning who they are, what they are. We're learning exactly where they can fit into the church and what to do and what God has given to them as a specialty. But everybody becomes a participant on an equal status. There's not one better than another person. And excuse me, I am not better as the pastor, better than somebody else. We're all the same. And we just have different jobs to do. And the pastors that sit there and say, well, you have to worship me and you have to bend down and kiss me, my feet or whatever, I think they've got a wrong idea of exactly what a pastor's job is. Because we are there to serve the people. We're not there for them to serve us. Especially when I was back in the United States this last summer visiting my son, who was going through and is still going through some trying times, and you need to pray for him. But I visited quite a few churches while I was there, and some of them that I saw, I was not really happy with what I saw. Because I think they're bowing down and worshiping the pastor a little bit too much. And the pastor is haughty. It says, and actually blends to the concept of you worship me. But I don't believe that. I believe the pastor is part of the group. The pastor is an integral part as a leader in the leadership group of people that lead the church. And for the moment, having a small church right now, we make a decision unifiedly as a church, and I don't take too many decisions except the spiritual ones and go off running with them. Another concept is we become one with Him, which is pretty much the spiritual concept that we need to look at. Becoming one with Him is becoming a participant, like I talked about before, a participant. But when we become one with Him, we have come from the different backgrounds, the different concepts that we've been taught in our lives, some of them right, some of them wrong. And when we come together, we become interdependent one with another. And that interdependency, the unifying hub of the wheel, if you want to call it that or refer to it that way, is Jesus Christ. Now there's other churches with the name of Unified Church of Christ, unified this, unified that. But my biggest question is, who are you really unified with? Are you unified with a denomination? Are you unified with people? Or is your real intent to be unified totally with Jesus Christ? And to become so much like Him that when people see you, they see Christ shining in you. We have a lady who is in her 50s in the church who has just come back to the Lord in an exciting way. And we have seen over the last couple months since she's been in the church how she's shining and radiant with the love of Jesus Christ, how Jesus has come into her heart in a new way, like a new wave that we see in the sea. The surfers, they usually say the surf is up, a new wave, the big waves are coming in, and we see her shining as a big wave, a big light in the sky, who is a participant now in the church and who is shining from, it's just exciting to see people who are, their lives are changing, and they're becoming excited with Jesus Christ, and they're moving, and they're there like a sponge, taking, as Pastor Franco and I preach and the others speak in the church, they're taking everything they can get and putting it in their heart, and they're coming across in a new way because they're excited because of what Jesus is doing in their life. And you know, when we become a part of Jesus Christ, as verses 1 and 2, we'll get into Romans now. Verses 1 and 2 states that what shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? God forbid. Verse 2. We who died to sin, how shall we any longer live therein? When we become part of Jesus Christ, this is not saying that we should continue in sin. Quite obviously, that's not what the Bible teaches. What this is basically saying is we can live without sin in our lives if we take on more of Jesus Christ, if we incorporate Jesus into our life, if he's embedded into the way that we live, if we participate with what he's saying to us and become one with him, then our wanting to sin or leaving the door open for the devil to come in and to tempt us is much less, because we have taken more and more of Jesus Christ into our spirit and into our way of being, so we are not tempted by the devil. You know, so many Christians today play with the concept of the things of the world and yet say they're Christians, but they bring their Bible to church. They open it to the scriptures that the pastors and the Sunday school teachers are teaching, excuse me, and then they take it home. Their excitement stops when they leave the church door, go back out on the street, drive back home, or go home in any way that they go home in. And they put the Bible on the table, and there it sits for the rest of the week. Well, how can you be engrafted? How can Jesus be a part of you if you only allow Jesus in your life only for Sunday morning? Maybe Tuesday night or Thursday night, whenever your midweek service is. And they never pray, they never read the word, they never look at Christian stuff on television, they never look at Christian stuff on the internet, the different means of the media today that the church is using. How can they say that Jesus Christ is a part of them if they're not participating in what they agreed upon when they accepted Jesus in their heart? Jesus, the reality of Jesus Christ is a relationship. It is not a tag or a denomination that says you have to do certain rules. For me to be a Christian and to be a participant, to be one with him in Jesus Christ, to be embedded, to be incorporated, let the incorporation of Jesus come into you, means that you participate and speak with him and have a communion with him, not just on a Sunday morning, but every single day of your life is when you communicate with Jesus Christ, and he is such a part of you that when he speaks in your heart, you hear what he's saying. And I will go through that sometime in the future about how you hear Jesus Christ. And My goodness, there's all kinds of that on the internet. If you just in YouTube, how to hear Jesus Christ. But you can't hear him if your antennas are not up, if you want to put it that way. You have to want to communicate with him if you want to be with him and to hear him. And so many times today we don't. And we put God in a box instead of letting him be enveloping all around us and in us and through us, so that he touches every single facet of our life. And I see my 15 minutes is just about gone. I'll be right back with another section of this mini-series, The Unity of Jesus Christ. Thank you very much for being with me.